Hi, welcome back, beautiful beloveds, to the channel. My name is Gem Stone, and I'm a psychic medium, and I'm an author. Now, as well as being able to channel, I can remote view, and I'm just at the moment uploading on my phone a session I just briefly did with ChatGPT. I got ChatGPT to just give me coordinates and I would guess what came to me. And you'd be surprised how accurate I was. Anyway, channeling and remote viewing are different. And if you would like to know how to remote view, I'm offering a PDF for $1.50. If you would like to know how to channel, I'm offering a PDF for $2. If you would like both, like I said, they're different techniques, both for $3. So basically, when you do, they're both filtered, okay, because we're humans and we do filter. But a target is, remote viewing, you only get pieces of a puzzle, where channeling, you get more the completed. So I'm just going to leave this up for a little bit longer, and I'm going to ask that after you watch this, that you please leave a comment, and please do so respectfully. If only the world was more respectful and more kind. All right, let's get on to it. So, shadow work or entity attachment. Identifying true darkness within your energetic field. In this video, we are stepping into a territory that sits right on the borderlands of psychology, spirituality, trauma, and the unseen. There is a question many people are afraid to ask themselves honestly. Is the darkness I feel actually mine? Or is it something feeding from it? Because here is the problem. A lot of people spend years trying to heal trauma that may not fully belong to them. And at the same time, many people blame entities for wounds that are actually unresolved pieces of themselves asking to be seen. So in this video, we are applying discernment, not fear, not paranoia, discernment. We are going to examine the energetic fingerprint of internal shadows versus external intrusions, and how to tell the difference between shadow work and attachment. Because these two things can feel eerily similar in the beginning, like two masks hanging in the same dark hallway. But they do not resonate the same once you learn to listen carefully. The spectrum of internal shadows. First, we need to understand what the psychological shadow actually is. In modern psychology, the shadow refers to the hidden parts of ourselves that were rejected, buried, or split away. This can include shame, rage, grief, jealousy, fear, guilt, suppressed instincts, traumatic memories, pain, even buried talents. The psyche creates compartments, like locked rooms behind the house of consciousness. And when these rooms remain unopened for years, pressure builds. That pressure can feel heavy, dark, obsessive, emotionally suffocating. But here is the important distinction. A true psychological shadow usually still feels connected to you. Even if painful, there is a strange familiarity to it, like hearing your own voice distorted through old radio static. You might say, "I know this feeling. This reminds me of childhood. I always react this way. This emotional loop keeps returning." Shadow material often repeats patterns. It circles the same emotional terrain again and again. The shadow is not usually random. It is patterned, personal, rooted. Now compare that with what many experiences describe during an attachment state. Instead of feeling like a wounded fragment of self, it feels foreign, abrupt, like a frequency that entered sideways. People often describe sudden hatred that feels alien, impulses that do not match their personality, emotional numbness replacing their natural emotional range, coldness, mental static, a sense of being watched internally. The difference is subtle but important. Shadow material feels buried. Attachment feels inserted. One rises from below. The other presses inward from outside. And in 2026, I believe this distinction matters more than ever because people are spiritually overloaded. We are living in an era of constant digital stimulation, emotional fragmentation, collective anxiety, algorithmic emotional manipulation, sleep disruption, isolation, psychic overstimulation. Human consciousness right now resembles an electric storm with thousands of open tabs flickering at once. And exhausted people often have weakened energetic boundaries. The anatomy of personal trauma. Now let's talk about trauma itself. Unhealed trauma creates energetic voids. When a child experiences abandonment, humiliation, terror, or emotional neglect, part of the psyche can fragment off in order to survive. That fragment does not disappear. It waits, sometimes for decades. This is why shadow work can feel like descending into an underground archive filled with frozen emotional versions of yourself. And yes, this darkness can feel intense. It can create depression, compulsions, self-sabotage, emotional flooding, reoccurring toxic relationships, chronic shame. But again, there is usually a recognizable emotional signature attached to it. The shadow often speaks in the language of your history. For example, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of worthlessness, repeating parental dynamics, reliving betrayal patterns. There is emotional continuity. The psyche is trying to reintegrate rejected material. Shadow work, therefore, involves introspection, accountability, grieving, emotional honesty, nervous system regulation, forgiveness, self-awareness. And one of the biggest signs you are dealing with authentic shadow material is this. When insight occurs, the energy shifts. You suddenly understand this reaction was tied to my wound, and something releases. Not instantly, perhaps, but genuinely. The psyche softens because the fragment has been witnessed. True shadow integration often brings tears, relief, emotional clarity, increased self-awareness, compassion, groundedness. It ultimately reconnects you more deeply to yourself. Attachment phenomena tend to do the opposite. Signs of external entity attachment. Now, this is where things become controversial. I want to say this clearly. Not every intrusive thought means an entity. Not every mental health struggle means possession. Critical discernment matters enormously here. But throughout history, across many cultures, there have been consistent reports of external, energetic influences attaching to weakened states of consciousness. And whether someone interprets this spiritually, psychologically, archetypally, or metaphysically, the experiences themselves are remarkably similar. Some reported signs include sudden personality shifts, compulsive destructive urges, unfamiliar intrusive thoughts, abrupt emotional inversions, exhaustion after certain environments or people, feeling drained after digital immersion, sleep paralysis experiences, reoccurring nightmares with intelligent presence, cold sensations in the room or around the body, aversions to grounding practices, strange mental pressure, feeling internally crowded. The key distinction many experiences describe is this: it feels other, not hidden, not buried, other, like a frequency riding on top of your consciousness. A psychological shadow generally wants integration. A parasitic attachment behaves more like interference. It destabilizes, confuses, amplifies chaos. And interestingly, many people report the attachment resisting exposure, almost like mold recoiling from sunlight. Now, personally, I think modern environments can absolutely weaken energetic resilience. Endless doom scrolling, violence saturation, sleep deprivation, constant fear cycles, emotional fragmentation. Imagine the nervous system as a castle wall. Stress creates cracks. Trauma leaves gates half open. Add exhaustion and spiritual confusion, and suddenly the boundary between self and collective energy becomes porous. Tools for energetic discernment. So, how do you tell the difference? One method I call vibrational auditing. This means tracing the origin point of a thought or emotional wave. When a dark thought appears, pause and ask, does this feel connected to my personal history? Then ask, does this energy deepen self-awareness or scatter it? Shadow material often becomes clearer under observation. Attachment-like interferences often becomes invasive, chaotic, or agitated when directly examined. Another crucial practice is radical self-honesty, because sometimes people use entity attachment to avoid accountability. It is easier to say something attacked me than to admit I have unresolved rage, or I keep harming myself through my own patterns. Discernment means willing to confront both possibilities honestly. No spiritual bypassing, no paranoia, no inflation. Then there is the energetic response testing. Grounding frequencies can reveal a lot. Examples include deep nature immersion, salt baths, prayer, meditation, breath work, frequency music, chanting, trauma therapy, sleep restoration, reducing digital overstimulation. Notice the response. Shadow work often responds positively to introspection. Let me repeat that. Sorry, it's been a long video. Shadow work often responds positively to introspection and emotional processing. Parasitic interference, according to many experiencers, may intensify briefly when boundaries strengthen, like static losing signal. The jewel case scenario. Now, here's where things get especially interesting. Sometimes it is not one or the other. Sometimes trauma becomes the anchor point. Think of unresolved wounds as open energetic doorways. A person with deep abandonment trauma may unconsciously radiate despair, helplessness, or emotional fragmentation. And if external energies exist, these wounds may function like resonance points, not because the person is weak, but because unprocessed pain creates openings. In this scenario, the trauma is real, the shadow is real, and external interference may also be present, which means healing requires both psychological integration and energetic boundary restoration. You cannot simply banish unresolved trauma, and you cannot journal away every possible intrusion. Both layers may need addressing simultaneously. Sovereign shielding. The ultimate goal is sovereignty, not fear, not obsession with darkness. Sovereignty. Your consciousness should belong to you. That means reclaiming personal agency, healing trauma, strengthening boundaries, protecting nervous system health, reducing emotional leakage. Sorry, let me repeat that. Reducing emotional leakage, becoming conscious of what you consume energetically. Every interaction leaves residue. Music, media, people, online spaces. Some environments nourish the psyche like sunlight through cathedral glass. Others feel like psychic landfill fires burning behind the eyes. Your energy field notices a difference even when your conscious mind ignores it. So, daily energetic hygiene becomes essential, especially now. Daily energetic hygiene for 2026. Here is a simple modern protocol. Morning, ground bare feet outside if possible. Hydrate immediately. Avoid doom scrolling upon wakening. State conscious intention for the day. During the day, limit emotional overstimulation. Monitor environments that drain you. Pay attention to sudden energetic shifts. Take nervous system resets throughout the day. In the evening, salt bath or shower visualization, salt bath or shower visualization, breath work, reflection journaling, disconnect from chaotic digital input before sleep. And perhaps most importantly, learn your own energetic signature, because once you deeply know the texture of your own consciousness, foreign resonance becomes easier to detect, like recognizing one wrong instrument playing outside an orchestra. Sorry, let me repeat that. Like recognizing one wrong instrument playing inside an orchestra. Closing. The line between psychology and spirituality is not always clean. Human consciousness is vast, complex, layered, and there is danger in blindly labeling everything as trauma, just as there is danger in labeling everything as entities. The answer requires discernment, humility, grounding, and self-awareness. Sometimes the darkness is a wounded fragment asking to come home. Sometimes it is interference feeding on fragmentation. And sometimes it is both. But either way, your awareness matters, because awareness changes the architecture of consciousness itself. And perhaps that is why discernment has become one of the most important spiritual skills of this era. Not fear, not blind belief, discernment. Until next time, stay grounded, stay sovereign, and pay attention to the resonance beneath the surface. Thank you, beautiful, beloved souls, for watching. I'll briefly put this up again. As I end this, I ask that you leave a comment. Do so with respect. Please be kind to each other. Smile at a stranger. You might just save someone's life. Kindness costs nothing. Most of all, take care of yourselves because you matter. Your lives are precious. You're here for a reason. And again, my name is Gem Stone, psychic medium and author. On this channel, you'll find lots of different content. I look at everything through a lens. Thanks again for watching. Love, light, and blessings. And happy Mother's Day tomorrow to all the mothers. Bye.